From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, October the 10th, 2019. We open with the attempted attack on a synagogue yesterday in Germany that left 2 people dead. A 27-year-old neo-Nazi live-streamed his rampage, trying to storm the synagogue in the town of Halle during Yom Kippur services. Armed with homemade firearms, including a submachine gun and homemade grenades, which he used to try and gain entry through the main doors of the synagogue, but they were bolted shut. He then threw grenades and fired at 2 other entrances to the synagogue without success. All while the dozens of worshipers inside the synagogue watched his attempts on security cameras after barricading the doors from the inside. During this time, the gunman shot a woman who walked by him on the street dead, and then shot and killed a man at a nearby shop. Neither were identified at the time of the taping of this newscast. Police soon after intercepted and opened fire at the gunman as he tried to escape in his car. He was wounded and arrested. By the way, almost 9 pounds of explosives were found in his car, which Germany's federal prosecutor said today indicates a major attack was planned. Just before he drove to the synagogue, the gunman rambled an anti-Semitic mission statement on camera, which included that the Holocaust never happened and that Jews were the root of major problems in Western society. German Chancellor Angela Merkel attended an interfaith vigil last night to show her solidarity with the Jewish community and expressed her deepest sympathy for the victims, saying that Germany had zero tolerance for hate and violence. German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier met with Jewish leaders at the synagogue today, telling them that the state takes responsibility for Jewish life, for the security of Jewish life in Germany. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the attack was further testimony that anti-Semitism in Europe is increasing, and he called on the German authorities to continue taking determined action against it. Israel's President Reuven Rivlin said, "We will continue to campaign for education and remembrance in the fight on anti-Semitism, which raises its head again and again in Europe and across the world, based on the clear understanding that it is not a problem of the Jews alone, but threatens to destroy us all." Jewish organizations expressed their shock and outrage as well. World Jewish Congress President Ronald Lauder called to immediately launch a unified front against neo-Nazi and other extremist groups. He said the fact that 75 years after the Holocaust, such groups are gaining influence in Germany speaks volumes. B'nai B'rith International said this terrorist attack should be met with a renewed resolve of solidarity within the Jewish community and beyond. The American Jewish Committee initiated a letter of solidarity with Germany's Jewish community on their website, writing, "Tell the world that an attack on one Jew is an attack on all." And on Yom Kippur Eve, Tuesday, hateful messages were found at a Holocaust memorial in Westchester County. Westchester County Executive George Latimer said graphic and insulting anti-Semitic stickers, posters, and graffiti were discovered at the Garden of Remembrance in White Plains, New York.
For this to be the site of an act of hatred is particularly heinous, and for it to happen on the day, which is the most solemn day on the Jewish calendar, is really a statement being made by the person who did this.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo said he was disgusted by the incident. Speaking of the 6 million Jews killed in the Holocaust, he said vandalizing a memorial lovingly built in their honor is a revolting and cowardly act, and I have directed the State Police Hate Crimes Task Force to offer assistance to local authorities investigating this heinous act to ensure those responsible are held accountable, adding hate has no place in this state. Israel has condemned the attacks in Syria by Turkish forces against Kurdish-controlled areas of Syria. This after the U.S. decision to withdraw American troops from Syria. Prime Minister Netanyahu condemned the attacks by Turkey, warning against ethnic cleansing. He said Israel was prepared to offer humanitarian assistance to the Kurds. Speaking today at a state memorial for the Israeli soldiers killed during the Yom Kippur War, the Prime Minister focused on the threat from Iran and reiterated that Israel would defend itself against any threat. And turning to some political news in Israel, the Times of Israel reports that Yisrael Beitenu leader Avigdor Lieberman's plans for a unity government were revealed last night, saying such a government would have Netanyahu and Blue and White leader Benny Gantz agreeing to a rotation deal that would see Netanyahu going first as prime minister, but that Netanyahu would have to break his alliance with the right-wing and religious parties with whom he formed a bloc. Unnamed officials were cited by the report, saying that Lieberman's plan offered nothing new and states the obvious. And one of the parties in Netanyahu's bloc offered up a proposal as well. United Torah Judaism said their proposal for a unity government with Netanyahu and Blue and White would give both leaders the right to veto decisions made in the Knesset. Blue and White dismissed the idea, calling it a non-starter. Well, 2 Arab Israeli plumbers refused to charge a Jewish Israeli woman for their services after learning that she was a Holocaust survivor. Israel's Channel 12 reports that brothers Simon and Salim Matari were recently called to the Haifa home of 95-year-old Rosa Meir to fix a large leak. While working and interacting with Meir, she shared her story, and when it came time to hand her the bill, the brothers did, but wrote on it, "Holocaust survivor, may you have health until 120 years old, from Matari Simon and Matari Salim," adding that the cost of the service was 0 shekels. They also promised to return and fix anything Meir needed free of charge. Meir said she was uplifted by the moving gesture. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, October the 10th. At 7 o'clock, Tal Keenan and Brett Stevens talk about the Jewish future. At 8, Israeli Reform Rabbi Uri Regev talks about the challenge of creating a unified state of Israel that is both Jewish and democratic. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with Aish HaTorah lecturer and author Ken Spiro, who discusses anti-Semitism as anti-Zionism, American Jewry, and today's Democratic Party, as well as the core values of Jewish idealism. That's with Mark Golub on L'chaim. At 10, it's the Jewish Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And coming up right after this newscast, Innovation Israel. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, October the 10th, 2019. I'm Teisha Bader.